Hello, friends. I'm going to read a very interesting topic, which is called Power of Thought, which is said by Patriji. My dear friends, my dear masters, and my dear gods of India and the whole world. Today we are focusing upon the most important theme in the subject of spiritual science, the power of thought, which is the science of true happiness of a human being. My dear friends, we are all thought beings. Every being is a thought being. Every being is an energy being. Every being is a knowledge being. We are all specific specks of energy, consciousness, and knowledge. Consciousness expresses itself as function, as thought. The whole nature, the whole creation is full of an infinite number of beings who are all energy, thought, knowledge beings. Every event is a dynamic state. Everything depends upon the knowledge of a particular being, the energy of a particular being, and the thought quality of that particular being. Coming to human kingdom, the human being's power of thought, play of thought, and the role of thought is immense. Human beings must understand this great science of intent and corresponding material effects. As our intent is, so would be the effect of ourselves on the environment. Intent is what we think in our mind, what we conclude in our mind, and the effect is on the environment. The law concerning the power of thought is put simply as we think, so it becomes. As our intent is, so is the manifestation. The material manifestation depends upon the inner intent. Everybody's life is a result solely of one's own choice patterns. There are no some other external factors and external gods sitting up there in the sky trying to mold us like mud. We create our own particular realities through our own particular intents and through our own particular thought patterns. I hear some music by some person. A desire for music arises in me. My thought pattern is captured by the desire. I desire to learn music. I yearn for music. I want to learn music. I go in search of a teacher of music. I do learn. I do practice. And ultimately, I become a musician. You see somebody playing soccer, you want to play it yourself. You seek out that game more and more. The desire gradually becomes strengthened. You have concluded in your mind that you must become a soccer player. You go and join a club. You go daily there. You become a regular member. You practice, and then in due course, you become a soccer master yourself. You have heard about Jesus Christ, right? Your mind gets captured by the whole concept of Jesus Christ, how he lived and what his message was. You too want to become like Jesus Christ. You begin to practice meditation. You go into the small circle of similar meditators. You practice and practice. You finally become another Jesus Christ. You become another soccer player, another musician, another Christ. This is the order of the things. Everything, as a beginning, arises in the mind and then manifests itself in the outer. Any manifestation in the outer is a natural result of that which arises as an intent in the mind in the beginning. Gautama Buddha saw sorrow everywhere, misery everywhere. Once he came out of the palace, a thought sprang in him. What is the cause of this misery? His mind was captured by the thought, and then he searched. He went to so many persons, all those who were involved in a similar search. He went to many masters and discussed the whole problem, learned whatever he could learn from each and every person concerning the quest. He practiced and practiced. Then he became enlightened. He came to know about the whole science of event formation. He came to understand about the nature of power of thought, nature of power of desire, nature of the power of intent, nature of the law of cause and effect, nature of the law of reincarnation. He became a Buddha. What he set out to become, he did become. As long as he was in the palace, there was no thought of what he wanted to do. Once he came out of the palace, then the new thought pattern began. He thought, he contemplated. He was so stubborn and steadfast. He became a Buddha. If he had faltered in the middle, he could never have become a Buddha. If I want to become a soccer player, my thoughts should continuously be on the topic of soccer. It behoves upon us to maintain a particular thought stream. We could either continue or we could discontinue. It all depends on how much we desire. If we are fearful, then our power of thought, our power of intent would become weak. Then it cannot manifest. Please remember this point. As we think, so we become. as we intend, as we make a decision in our mind, as we conclude in our mind. So it is going to happen. If we don't conclude in our minds, if we don't decide in our minds, nothing can ever manifest. We can also call it as power of decision, power of decisive thinking. Never any indecisive thinking, never any hanky panky thoughts, never any haphazard thinking, never one step forward and two steps backward. Such kind of thought patterns never lead us anywhere other than create tremendous unwanted disturbance in the mind. We should be absolutely straight and clear in our thought pattern, in our thinking pattern, and in our decision pattern. If we desire something, we should go with the whole of our heart towards it. Otherwise, we should just forget about it. Decisive thinking alone leads us to become a successful human being. Success depends upon the power of thought. This has been told by each and every master throughout the ages. There is nothing new about what we are saying here, and there is nothing new about what we are hearing. Jesus Christ spoke the same truth, Buddha spoke the same truth, Krishna spoke the same truth, Prophet Muhammad spoke the same truth. Yet, we are not interested in getting in touch with that concept. We are not living with that concept. We are not practicing the concept. We are not able to control our minds. Therefore, we are not able to control our lives. If we take a few earnest moments to control our minds, to give a proper shape to our minds, to give a direction to our minds, then we would have taken charge of our true life. Our lives depend upon our minds. As our mind is, so is our life. Our life is a sum total of whatever we have intended and whatever we are intending. Everything depends solely and absolutely on how our mind is. We have to understand the law that the outer is created in the inner. The inner manifests itself through the purity of intent, through the purity of thought as the outer. Then we become masters, truly creating meaning in our life, truly creating beauty in our life. My dear friends, we are all creators of our own selves, and as we do things, so we do become. We have not been created by somebody else, we have created our own self. We took birth because we wanted to be born in this particular body, in this particular time, to this particular parents. When we were citizens in causal worlds, we decided, yes, this is the time to be born. This is the time to go to the physical earth. This is the time to physicalize myself. This is the time to understand new lessons. This is the time to undergo new experiences in another physical life. We chose among several parents, among the several potential parents most suitable to us. We choose, we intend, we make decisions. If we have not decided to be born, we would not be here. Nobody comes here onto the earth into a mother's womb without a decision. We decided, therefore we are born. We selected our particular parents, therefore we are with our particular family. We cannot blame our parents because we ourselves chose. We intend, and that's what we are going to encounter. The kind of life we want to lead at any given moment depends upon our choice, our stream of thinking. As we think, so it becomes. If we want to become a doctor, we become a doctor. If we want to become a master, we become a master. If we want to become a soccer player, we become a soccer player. The most important thing that we must understand about is the strength of our thoughts, the strength of our intentions, and the choice of our intentions should be perfect and unwavering. As we think, so we become. As we intend, as we decide, so it is going to become. If we do not decide, it is not going to manifest. If we do not intend, it is not going to occur. As we intend, as we decide, as we crave for it, as we crave desperately, that is how it is going to become. We are all creators of our own particular life destinies, our own particular life realities. Who is going to hammer this truth into our minds? We alone have the hammer to this truth into our minds. We ourselves have to do that. Nobody else can do it for us. God will not do, God will not help. We have to keep remembering again and again and again and again the fact that we create our own realities. We fall by our own selves. We rise by our own selves. We rise through the strength of our own thought, or we fall through lack of strength in our thoughts. We rise through the strength of our powerful intents, or we fall through the weakness of our intents. We move ahead through our unwavering decisions, or we lag behind through our wavering decisions. The whole of America decided that Man will land on the moon by a specific time schedule, and they did it. That is power of thought. Can you imagine a man landing on the moon? Can you imagine a man climbing up the Everest? Can you imagine a man crossing the whole of Atlantic into a small boat? How did that particular man make it happen? How did that particular man manage so? That is the power of thought. As we think, so it becomes. As we intend, so it becomes. As we decide, so it becomes. There are four types of thinking patterns: disastrous thinking, negative thinking, positive thinking, miraculous thinking. These are the four basic thinking patterns existing in human bodies. Disastrous thinking. Suppose our thinking is always disastrous. For example, for the first time we are going by the bike or by a car, whatever it may be, if you are entertaining a type of thought, I am going to have an accident, that is certain. With that kind of a bent of our mind, if we go into a driving act, we are certain to land in an accident. This is the first time I'm driving in a traffic. I'm supposed to fall. I will definitely fall. It is going to happen. That kind of thinking is called disastrous thinking. We have to understand that we are not supposed to fall whatsoever. We are not supposed to have an accident, whatever. Nothing is presupposed. We created that particular disastrous reality through our disastrous thinking. We have been told that everybody will have failures in the beginning. Our parents have told us so. We have been mesmerized, we have been hypnotized into thinking about disasters always. Therefore, disasters are happening everywhere for everybody. Disasters are not destined by any god, they have been created by our own selves through the power of disastrous thinking. So, my dear friends, we should train ourselves, we should train our children, we should train our friends into this knowledge that never entertain disastrous thoughts in the mind. As soon as a disastrous thought arises in the mind, it should be snubbed off, it should be wiped off immediately. We should constantly sweep our minds off of all disastrous thoughts. All disasters are happening solely because of disastrous thinking. Now, negative thinking. Oh, it may not happen like that. I may not pass in the first class. I may not reach my target. I may or may not. That kind of thinking pattern is called a negative thinking. I'm writing my exams. I may pass or I may fail. If the type of thinking is negative thinking, at least there is a half chance of passing. So, negative thinking that extent is more elevated compared to disastrous thinking. What happens now? He just will fall 1 mark short of passing. Since he himself concluded that he may pass or he may fail, now he will be on the borderline. Who created him on the borderline? He himself. It's all his negative thinking pattern. As he thought, so he became. Thought is the most powerful thing, and disastrous thoughts are disastrously powerful. Negative thoughts are negatively powerful too. Disastrous thoughts breed disasters, negative thoughts breed failures. Disastrous thoughts attract disasters, accidents, and negative thoughts attract failures. Now, positive thinking. Yeah, I'm going to pass. Yeah, I'm going to succeed. This may be the first time I'm driving the vehicle in the traffic. So what? I will come back safely. There is absolutely no problem in that. Such a kind of thinking pattern is what one should always adopt. This is called as positive thinking. Yeah, I'm going to sit in meditation. I will definitely control my mind. No problem whatsoever. These are all great examples of positive thinking. We should practice positive thinking as we practice music, as we practice soccer. No, no, it is so difficult to control the mind. When you use the word so difficult, that is negative thinking. It is absolutely very difficult to control the mind. It is rather impossible. When you use the word impossible, that is disastrous thinking. To control mind is impossible. Why should I try at all? What kind of statement is that? That is typical disastrous thinking. No, I will try. I may succeed in meditation or I may not succeed in meditation. Let us see. Let us try. Either way, it is okay. This way or that way, it may be pass or it may be failure. These are typical examples of negative thinking. With negative thinking, we are definitely going to fail. That is decided. Results are decided beforehand by the type of intent patterns. All results are decided beforehand in our mind. If we are entertaining a disastrous type of thinking, disasters get, of course, manifested. If we are entertaining positive thinking, Successes are there for sure. One step forward and two step backward. That is the nature of negative thinking. Positive thinking demands only moving forward and never going backwards in a mind. That is the only thing that is going to create success. Now let us know what is miraculous thinking. The fourth type of thinking pattern is the highest, my dear friends. That is miraculous thinking. Wow. I will open my third eye in my meditation. Nature will see to it that I will open my third eye. Well, that is miraculous thinking. Okay, it is the first time I'm driving in the traffic. So what? I will touch the downtown and come back within 15 minutes. You go and then come back within 15 minutes or say 20 minutes. That is miraculous thinking. You have absolute confidence in yourself. That is creating a miracle. That is miraculous thinking. Jesus Christ said, whatever I have achieved, you too can achieve, and far greater things. See how he spoke? A grandmaster always lives in miraculous thinking. Therefore, he creates miracles. Are you willing to entertain the same kind of miraculous thoughts? All the great grand masters in the world had seen. They all went much beyond mere positive thinking. They were masters of miraculous thinking. In the ancient Puranas of Hinduism, you will encounter many persons who decided that they will never die and they could achieve whatever they wanted to. They did achieve physical immortality. You want to live with the same physical body for 10,000 years? Yeah, you can achieve it. You can achieve it through the mechanism of miraculous thinking. Human body can live up to only 50 or 60 or 70 years. Who told you? You are telling it to yourself. You have hypnotized yourself. You let the ordinary world hypnotize you into thinking that 3 scores plus 10, that is 70 years, that is the average span of life. Nobody is going to die in spite of himself. Everybody dies because of their own self, because they think that they have to die. That, of course, is disastrous thinking. The whole humanity believes in disastrous thinking. They got to die, they should die. It is a grand example of disastrous thinking. You don't have to die unless you want to die. So never entertain thoughts of death, my dear friends. Then you will have to die. As you think, so it becomes. You can become physically immortal if only you can sustain and maintain the stream of your miraculous thought. Let us recap again. There are four types of thinking patterns. The first one is disastrous thinking, second one is negative thinking, third one is positive thinking, and the fourth one, the best one, the highest one, is miraculous thinking. At any given time, you put yourself into one of these four compartments, either in disastrous thinking or in negative thinking or in the positive thinking or in the great miraculous thinking. As you choose vegetables in the market, you choose thinking patterns. And you have to cook the same and eat it. Whatever vegetable you buy in the market, that's what you're going to cook and that's what you're going to eat. We cannot buy one vegetable in the market and cook another vegetable in the kitchen. And we cannot cook one vegetable in the kitchen and have another vegetable on the dining table. Whatever we are going to purchase in the market, that's what we are going to have on the dining table. Don't purchase disastrous thinking. Don't purchase negative thinking. Don't purchase even positive thinking. Purchase only miraculous thinking in the market. Then you cook that in your home, and that is what is going to be eaten by you. Whatever we go to hear a lecture by Jesus or Buddha or by Zoroaster, a sermon by a Hermes or by a Krishna, you know what vegetables they are going to sell to you? Only vegetables of miraculous thinking. They don't sell vegetables of disastrous thinking, vegetables of negative thinking, vegetables of positive thinking. They're not available with them. Only vegetables of miraculous thinking. That's a master. That is what he sells. That is what he markets. Jesus Christ said, whatsoever I have achieved, you too can achieve, and far greater things. Even if you have faith of the size of a mustard seed, you can overturn the mountains. Such statements indicate miraculous thinking. We should practice miraculous thinking, my dear friends. As we perfect music, as we perfect soccer, so we have to perfect miraculous thinking. 20 or 30 years back, I personally decided that I should bring change in the whole world. I should teach the whole world about the science of meditation, the science of happy living. And what happened in my life? Whatsoever I have decided, whatsoever I have concluded, that began manifesting itself. Now, millions of people have become meditators. Millions have freed themselves of all doctors, of all medicines. Millions have activated their third eyes. Millions have seen their own past lives. All this because of one person's power of thought, one person's power of intent, one person's miraculous thinking. There is no outside God. The power of thought is a power of God. We are the creators of our thoughts. We are the producers of our thoughts. We are the directors of our thoughts. And we ourselves are the witness of the power of our thoughts, the power of our intents. We alone reap the results of our intent patterns. Nobody else directs our thoughts. Nobody else produces our thoughts. Nobody else is going to listen to our thoughts. We have to produce our thoughts and we have to direct our thoughts. We have to reap the results of our thoughts. Nobody else cares for us. We got to care for ourselves. We should take care of ourselves. No Jesus Christ, no Krishna, no Rama, or anybody, anywhere cares for you. Nobody cares for anybody else. Everybody has to take care of their own wonderful self through their own miraculous thinking. Nobody saves us. Nobody is our savior. We got to save ourselves from our own disastrous thinking, from our own negative thinking. We have to raise much, much above positive thinking. We must go into the arena of miraculous thinking. That's how we are going to achieve whatever we really want to achieve. So, my dear friends, my dear masters, my dear gods, and my dear creators of the whole world, our world is our mind. Our mind is our world. We create our own life through our own thoughts. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. And thanks to Patri sir for giving such a wonderful message. Namaste, friends.